Hi. So one of the questions in my YouTube comments was, can out-of-body experience possess people? And for me, just to make it clear, this question is same as asking, can going shopping possess people, or can going flying somewhere or driving your car somewhere possess people? No. But the experiences we have when we go shopping or where we go flying or driving our car on where we're out of body can actually have an impact. Now, in a lot of my videos, you have heard me praise an out-of-body experience, say how amazing and wonderful it is, and it might sound like a fairy tale. So to be clear, it all depends on where you go when you're out of body, when you shift your consciousness, when your point of view is somewhere else. And for me, a lot of times, I just go somewhere where I would like to be, or somewhere where I think I'm needed, somewhere where I'm working, and it's not always bad. A lot of times when I go out, let's say I have this thing like when it hurts, when it's bad, I'm out. Like, fuck this body. So when it happens, like a lot of times I'm just gonna go to the places where it's more comfortable, where I don't have this physical case of this physical body. And one thing to know, when you get out of this physical body, you don't think anymore. There is no more mind chatter going on, none of your case. Like if you have various fears, if you have worries and concerns and a lot of things going on in your world, the traumas and experiences that you have had since birth, it's not a thing anymore. It's not going to impact your life over there. You're thinking like, your decisions, sure. But once you're out there, out of body, you don't have thinking. It's gone. It's knowingness. It's perception. It is very quiet within, so you don't have a chatter going on. You don't have the entity cases, the agreements, or other things that can be affecting your life. And by that, it's freedom. And it's why I pitch that is the best thing that can happen to you. But of course, a lot of people unknowingly, like they hear various stories and maybe I don't do a good enough job explaining what it is or what to expect. But let's say if you're not taking care of yourself and if you're focusing on bad stuff in this life, once you get out, everything you believe in and everything that's going on in your present life, you're going to track the same. So if I'm into, hey, I'm going to make this life better, and I'm like trying to get better in every possible way, my frequency, my vibration will take me to better places. But if you're like really pissed off about something, if you're suffering, if you're in that, victim mindset, and, you can be affected by a lot of people and you get out of body, it's quite likely you're going to go to lower astral realms. And over there, the experiences can be pretty harsh because when you're in the lower astral realms, yes, you can experience pain, and even sometimes more than here on Earth. And thinking can be turned on again because you're closer to Earth, and on that same note, like closer to the physical universe and closer to your own case. And by that, like it's like a magnet, it's like gravity working and attracting all of that stuff to you. So can you be possessed when you get out of body? Here's the thing. It really depends how long you leave your physical body. Like some people are looking for a way out. They think about suicide. They think about death. And sometimes suicide is pretty hard. Like, yeah, a lot of tools, a lot of ways to go. And boy, a lot of people have thought about it, me included. And all these ways, it's like, am I really going to die? Because so many stories go where people even use shotgun, and even then, somehow they're being saved. And, avoiding all the gory details, they're on vegetative state, even not having most of their head, and they're somehow surviving. Why? Like there's a lot of stories of things that can go wrong even when you're trying to end off your own life, and it doesn't always work. And some people that are considering suicide are like, am I really going to go? Because I've tried and it didn't work, or I failed, and like trying again, like I want to be sure I get out and not like fuck myself over forever, so like there's like a lot of thinking goes on before making that final decision. And at the same time, we consider people around us, because a lot of people that are into suicide, yeah, you felt a lot of pain and you're not being acknowledged, you're not getting that love, and you're not seeing the meaning, and there's a whole lot going on. But a lot of times we're just like, we don't want to hurt that person or certain people in our lives. Like, how are they going to react? how are they going to think? And like, I would go, but then there's my family. Then there's someone I love. Oh, I have a dog. I can't just leave my dog alone. And, like a lot of variations. So out-of-body experience is a way to go. If you leave your physical body long enough without coming back, you're out forever. Like you literally don't have to come back here anymore. And what happens to your physical body? Two variations. One is physical body drops dead. You're gone. It does not have a need to function anymore, just drops. And there are a lot of people that I have talked to that have managed, or like that have seen people that can get out and did. And it was like really, for me, it's funny, but it happened for real, where a person is talking to someone that can get out of body. They hate this body, don't want to be here anymore, they're kind of bored, and they get out. And pretty fast, within hours, the physical body drops dead. And they're using medics to revive the person. And the person gets back, like pushed back, like the soul, the consciousness, like, they get the person back. Or sometimes there are people like psychics who can find the consciousness that got out, like, hey, your physical body is dropped dead, you need to come back, and they pull them back by force. Like some of us think like, oh, we're getting like helping that being to come back, but like they really went out. So the person comes back, and soon afterwards they're like, fuck it, and they go out again, and the physical body drops dead for good, and no one revives them, and they're out. But like psychics or those that can get out of body gets out, talks to that person, and they're like, I'm not coming back, you're not going to bring me back, fuck you, man. And so a lot of people can have this experience. Now, if you're thinking like, yeah, that's a great way to go, but I have my dog, or I have responsibilities, or I have other things, so how can I go without hurting someone? And that's where like out-of-body experience, or that possession we talk about, this is where you can find walk-ins. This is a spirit consciousness who's pretty much advanced. Like in some teachings or descriptions and general definitions, a more advanced consciousness, but at the same time, someone like you who wants to use your body. Like they don't want to go through birth and years, and like all of a sudden, the way I see walk-ins, it's like you have a back door, a way to get into this physical body, or get into a physical body without really using all of the suppression, without losing your past life memories, without getting, all of these soul contracts made and everything else. Like if you go from birth until this very moment where you are right now, a lot has happened. But some people, walk-ins, they can come in at any point in time. If, let's say you get out of body, find someone, and then you switch. Like your consciousness, you, who you are, you get out fully. And then the walk-in comes and takes your body. And the way it works is that walk-in has all of your memories. And everything you have ever experienced, it has all your knowledge, everything this physical body has ever gathered, all the memories, knowing the way you talk, the way you move, everything like that. But they have their own personality. They have their own ideas. And a lot of times when we deal with walk-ins, we can actually make a deal like, hey, like I want you to take care of my dogs, or take care of my family, or do this for me. But other than that, you do what you want, use this physical body for whatever reasons or whatever you want. And yeah, see you later, or never again, bye, and you go. And the walk-in, the consciousness that takes this body, of course, is going to have a different beingness. So, being possessed is not a right way to call it, but it's just exchanging consciousness. Like you don't want to be here anymore. You leave forever, for good. You don't come back on Earth. And it's not a suicide. There is no pain. And, if you have ever gotten out of body, if you have ever been in lucid dreams and know how it feels to be there, it's pretty cool, And of course, depending on your own case, on your own beliefs, and what you think and focus on is what you're going to experience out there. And you're God, so of course you can take care of yourself and make sure what you experience is really good. But those that might have no idea about things, the way they think, what they're going to focus on, what they're going to attract is going to be pretty much like maybe not the best. So anyway, walk-ins, the possessed beingness right now, it's like the same way when you have a lucid dream or you get out of body and you connect to your other lives out there. How many of you have dreamed about your other life somewhere else? like you've had memories, like you've been living, you've had friends, you've had family somewhere else, and it felt freaking real. And you might have spent a few hours in that life and it was freaking awesome. Or you were actually really engaged and maybe more engaged than here on Earth. And so that dream you've had is not really a dream, it's a reality. When your physical body goes to sleep, your consciousness goes to one of your bodies. And you don't possess it, you just connect to your true beingness. It's the same way as, you have a video game on your end, and you're like, okay, what kind of video game do I want to play today? And you might have a Spider-Man, you might have, some massive multiplayer game, and variety of games, you choose what you want to play. And you are the player. So you choose a controller, you choose a game, and what kind of character you're going to play. All the characters are kind of like already the aspects of you that have a body, that have a life, and is continuous and is going. Like Spider-Man, you start off with, he's already has a Spider-Man suit, he can swing through the buildings, he has his own experience, but it's kind of like your life that you've had somewhere else. And once you take the controller and start playing as Spider-Man, you're still a Spider-Man. You don't change. You have this beingness. You have like, oh, I'm gonna like fly through the buildings and like swing in New York City and just have fun. It's the same way. A lot of your bodies are out there, and you can tune in to any of them, not overtake it and ruin your life. You just become you with more awareness, with more consciousness. It's the same way we're like, oh, my higher self, my over self, please help me. What kind of help are you expecting? Are you expecting some beingness to show up and talk to you? Or all of a sudden you're just become, like more aware, more here, brighter, better, smarter. You have a lot of these ideas coming over. You didn't get possessed. It's you connecting to yourself over here. And all of a sudden you have more knowledge, you have more beingness, you have more strength, more power, more energy and everything else. And same way over there. So these possessions, like some being out there might have a mission here on physical Earth. They're like, oh, well, there's this thing I want to teach, or I want to meet some people. I have some friends over here. And they don't want to go over the birth and everything else. They want the body that's ready. And a lot of them, will be smarter and choose a better body. So, if you're thinking about leaving for good, and if you're trying to find someone who would switch with you, be sure to take care of yourself. Because a lot of times, it's like, a lot of different beings want to get physical bodies for different reasons. And that includes entities, reptilians, mantis, grays and everything else. There's like various technologies where they can, transfer their consciousness, transfer their beingness, or use technology where, they can control physical body. And of course, they can't use everyone. So they get lesser beingnesses, like psychopaths. Why are there so many of them? Sociopaths, narcissists. It's like, well, there's the being that can play that. There's a being that can have their own case and their own thinking and their brain and everything else like that. That's cool. But there are a lot of third parties that will be somewhere else and just log into this physical character and take over and play the way they play. And they're nasty. So a lot of reasons, a lot of variations. And hey, a lot of people that I talk to that are walk-ins, they had the case of this physical body, and somehow they forget, like, oh damn, I forgot I'm a walk-in. They with their own issues, maybe they didn't use the back door fully, maybe they had some agreements and everything else, and they end up like not remembering that they are a walk-in. So whatever this physical body has experienced can be actually going against their values, and is pretty much traumatizing, and people end up having years and years of blaming themselves, like, oh my god, I can't believe I've been addicted to drugs, addicted to porn, doing this and that, and I abuse some people, I say so many things, and it just goes against your character, against who you are. And it's like, seems like this major shift in your beingness to where you have a memory of being one way, that right now you're a completely different person. And you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I've been that. I hate myself. Like the old me, I hate that aspect. And it's quite likely a sign that, hey, you're walking. Like it wasn't you experiencing all that. You got in here at some point of view when this person like woke up and had an experience like where it's Kundalini awakening, where the physical body fell asleep and you actually took over and okay, pull them out, bye-bye, I'm gonna use it now, whatever deal you've made with them. But boom, you end up here, and everything that happened in the past that seems like so against who you are right now, you got to stop dwelling on that stuff, forgive yourself and move on, because it's not necessarily you that did it. Of course, responsibility for this physical body falls on you because you have it right now, but you don't have to blame yourself for everything that has happened. You're like, new me. No, like I just took over this body, and of course it has a history, but I'm new me, and I can take over, and I can have start pick a new book and write your own story instead of old book and now what I'm gonna do with this story. So there. A lot of these possessions, we talk about let's say possessions, the question was can out of body experience cause possessions and stuff like that? That'd be one aspect. But at the same time, when we get out of body, depending where you go, you can learn a whole lot. Depending with, on the beings you meet out there. For me, I have curiosity. I love being curious. I love finding things out. And, I told how meeting reptilians, I used to hear how they're bad guys. So of course, I'm a good guy, so I'm gonna be a good bad guys because that's what heroes do. So I'm gonna help out people. Well, little did I know that I was doing the wrong thing. Of course, we want some justice, but there's different ways to deal with things. And I've learned that having a simple conversation, you can find out so many things about all the beings out there. Reptilians or mantis or greys or all the bad beings we hear about. If you talk to them when you're out of body and you learn their story, their point of view, a lot of times it's just hey, you might have done something in the past to piss them off. Okay, you're saving some planet from, being attacked, and you just destroyed this massive fleet of these, say, alien groups, and all of a sudden all of them see you as hey, this person destroyed all of my friends, all my family. We were just trying to survive. We're looking for materials. It's the same way people would look at Earth and see, oh, well, it would be a certain belief system about Earth, but we don't have enough materials. We're gonna, use up everything and have no way to survive here anymore. So we need to go to our planets to colonize and take over and make those planets ours. And let's say if other planets have life over there and you're trying to survive, you see yourself as good guys. I'm protecting my family. I'm protecting my kind. I'm trying to do good stuff for my, my beings over here. And those good intentions, our groups won't see it that way. It's we live here all the time. We had a nice, decent life. And here comes these humanoid beings all waving and killing us and taking over our turf. And what are we going to do? We try to fight back and they destroy all of us. And now they're pretty much mad at you. There's a lot of different stories, out there. And if you just have conversations, you can solve it. You can rewrite the past. And, just by finding out why are they, to say, targeting you or someone you like and care of, you can just deal with them by talking, by okay, I'm going to recreate a planet for you or whatever's taken, there it is. And you make various deals with them, hey, please leave me alone, or stop messing with humanity and just go do your own thing, but leave us alone. And they're going to go, again, it's a game. But when you get out of body, you can learn a whole lot of things. And even some people could say, Akvila got out of body and now she got possessed by reptilians because she's fond of them and she's protecting reptilians. And Akvila is actually a crazy demonized girl who's into all the dark stuff and Satanism. And she's actually pitching that. And she's actually supporting people to commit suicide by getting out of body. You can spin stories however you want. And that's fine. But, every time, you can be possessed by just getting a simple idea and acting on it. And there's a lot of beings out there, a lot of entities within our space. They're talking and actually, you might not notice them, but then being in your space and you having some sort of psychic abilities, you pick them up and everything they're talking about becomes your mind, your conversations in head, your thinking, and everything that goes in a negative chatter, everything that ends up blaming you or feeling bad, and all of a sudden you become, let's say, nastier, or you become more aggressive, you've kind of been possessed by entities. So there's a lot of ways to put it, but out of body experience, it's a 50-50 thing. If you are taking care of yourself, And depending what you focus on, you will find all the right things. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't give a damn about your physical body, if you're thinking and, let's say you have not been studying about possibilities and what's out there and what can you do and everything else, if you don't know about your own powers, if you have fears, concerns, and a lot of other things, and you get out, you might accidentally go to lower astral realms and meet some beings that might hurt you or say some things or scare you. Or you can actually find someone that will agree to switch places with you, and then you can go and be free of this physical universe. A lot of ways this can go, but yeah, that's my thinking about like all the possible possessions when you're out of body. It has a lot of ways to go. It doesn't mean that if you get out, it's going to happen for sure. Like you would have to find a being that would take over you, or like take over this physical body, I should say. You can get out for sure. Same with meeting bad beings. If you focus on them, you're going to find them. If you focus on the good stuff, if you focus on getting out and like going to your own places, you're going to get out and nothing's bad going to happen. It's all about what you focus on, what you believe in, and that's that. So hopefully this gives you some ideas and information, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.